Welcome to Sound Lab Studio. Sound Labs.
To the point where I'm no fun anymore.
Wow, listen to the way the artist intended to.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Got quite an epic live stream tonight. We got Please Please Me. This was the first Beatles album released in March 1963 over in merry old England. I don't, the first Beatles album in the U.S. It's kind of interesting. They had kind of similar to what the Rolling Stones was like in the early 60s, where they had different releases in the U.S. and the U.K. So for this review series, I'm going with the U.K. albums to make it a lot easier. Well, let's get started talking about the Please Please Me.
Background information.
I'll probably do like a brief summation of the Beatles. I think we all know these four: John Lennon, Paul McCartney, George Harrison, Ringo Starr. Hey, Jason, you can fill me up on this. I think, wasn't it John and Paul knew each other first, and they were in a group called the Quarrymen in the late 50s, and then they got George Harrison in there, and it was mentioned on your stream just moments ago, they struggled to find a drummer, and Ringo Starr was last minute. So
he was in another Liverpool band, and they liked him a lot more than Pete Best, so they replaced him, which was probably a good decision, I think.
Oh, Ringo Starr.
You hear a lot of people say like Ringo's a terrible drummer, but you know what? It's because Ringo may not be the most flashy drummer, but he got the time. He can keep.
Yes. Yeah. No, he's a good drummer. I think
Ringo's
he's a really good drummer.
Yeah, Ringo's awesome. All right, well, let's get into the first song on the album, and that is I Saw Her Standing There. This was a original track. All the original tracks, of course, were written by John Lennon and Paul McCartney. This was only a single released in the U.S. This was actually, come to find out, releases the B-side to I Want to Hold Your Hand, a big non-album single. That was like the song that launched the Beatles in the U.S.
Yeah.
But it still did pretty good even as a B-side. It reached like number 14 on the Hot 100, which isn't bad, all things considered. But as an album opener, I would say this is an amazing track. I hope you guys agree on that. But I'll pass it off to you. What are your thoughts on I Saw Her Standing There?
Well, what I have to say is 1, 2, 3, 4. Man, what a way to introduce yourself. Like this with that count in, and then you get that bass line and the guitar. George Harrison and John Lennon's guitars really play well with each other. I like they kind of put a lot of reverb on the guitars. That's the thing about this album is I think this album is really just a time capsule into the early 60s and what pop music sounded like at the time. This is the Beatles at their most energetic. Like later on you'll get more complex songs, but it feels like the energy kind of goes away a bit. Was what I'll say. Kind of my defense of the early era Beatles. I mean, I like the later era Beatles better, but I do think maybe some of the energy they had when they were younger is gone. This is them at their most energetic. This album was recorded actually in one day. They recorded some of the singles. And so all the songs that weren't singles, they recorded in one day. And John Lennon had a cold when he was recording this album, so very interesting. John doesn't sing on this song. I'm just kind of giving some facts about the album. Paul is the one who sings this song, but It's it's a very good song. I really like it. Very catchy. I love the part where they go real high and they go woo on there, and I love George Harrison's guitar solo. It's a very interesting guitar solo, kind of going places that you wouldn't exactly expect with the guitar solo. I like the it's a very unique guitar solo as well for this song. It's one of my favorites on the album. I'm not going to say where it goes, but one of my favorites. I will say that.
Yeah, this is how you open up your career.
Right.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I love "Not Fade Away" by the Stones, but yeah, not nearly as good as this song. Counting, very iconic. Just, I agree. There's a lot of energy going into this. Love the young energy in this. Paul McCartney's, even though he's one of my, like, of the three, he's my least favorite of the three big singers and writers, but his singing on this is like John Lennon quality. Like, this sounds like something that, this is like something that John Lennon would do, and
Yeah.
really strong singing by Sir Paul McCartney. Pretty good, really good.
Yeah, I feel like with that count in, it has almost kind of a live feel to it. Like they're singing this like live, And there's a couple times it happens during the album where they almost got kind of this like live feel to it. Like they're just playing in the cavern, And yeah, I always like when when an album starts with a nice upbeat song to really hit you into the album. Really, you want to hit the album on a really good note. I think I always feel like you want your first song to be very memorable and your last song to be very memorable. So when you come away from the album, you go, "Wow, man, that was a great album." And so I think, yeah, it's a perfect album opener to this one. Famously, Paul first wrote the lyrics. She was just 17, no beauty queen, or something like that. And John was like, no, that's a terrible lyric. And then he put in the lyric, about 17, if you know what I mean. And forever, we're all like, what do you mean? What does that mean? But there's almost kind of a risque danger to that line of like, she's just 17, if you know what I mean.
The funniest thing I've seen about that is there's this video where it's like Paul McCartney answers the web's most searched things about him. And Paul McCartney talks about that. He's like, oh, then one of the first songs, I saw her standing there, and we wrote the line, she was just 17, if you know what I mean, but I don't think you do know what I mean. It's the funniest thing.
But it works. The line works really well in the song, and you hear it and you go, huh. Because obviously they're, like, to me, when I was thinking about this album, I was listening to it, I mean, the Beatles are like in their early 20s. I mean, and their big audience is teenage girls. And I think they knew that they were writing these songs for teenage girls. So they're writing this song from perspective, of a teenager, she's just 17, because when you sing that line when you're older, it sounds creepy, she's just 17, But when you're early 20s, it's not as creepy as, because you're kind of talking from a teenage standpoint. So it works in the song, but it's just such an interesting line. But yeah.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite songs on the album. I think you guys have said what needs to be said already. It has such a high energy to it. I love the way the song opens, the 1, 2, 3, 4, just kicking off the album, just showing right off the bat this is such an amazing band. Paul McCartney's vocals are excellent. It's a great little rock song that just perfectly encapsulates what makes the 60s such a great era in music. And I think this is a good starting point to the Beatles. I think this is a great song. And that leads into our next song, and that is a song called Misery. This one, John Lennon led vocals on this one. It said this was only believe it or not, this was only released as a single in Germany. That's the only time that the only country where the song charted was in Germany, of all places. But at least the Germans got a really underrated song out of it. Or at least the Germans got a really good song, which I think is truthfully one of the more underrated songs on the album.
One of the only songs not to be released on a U.S. Beatles album.
Oh, okay.
Wow. I didn't know that.
They put it on a 1980 compilation called Rarities because this and another song on this album are the only two songs that weren't in their UK discography that weren't in the US discography.
I think There's a Place was that song.
Yeah, that's the other one.
Yeah, I agree. This is a great song. The harmonies, they're one of the finest harmony bands. Here on my channel, me and Jason are doing the Kinks, and that's a band that I always refer to with harmonies. I'm like, yeah, the Kinks will never be as good as the Beatles in harmonies.
Yeah.
They got close with Waterloo Sunset, but that was the closest they
Yeah.
ever got. But going back to the Beatles, Misery is just, I agree, it's very underrated. That piano opening is amazing. Very fast paced for a song that's named Misery. That I will say. When I first saw the name, when I first got into the Beatles, like way back, like 5-6 years ago, I'm like, is this gonna be a song about? Is this song gonna be very slow or something? Then when I first heard it, I'm like, yeah, no, it's not. It's not gonna be like that. It is a really good song though. Very underrated.
I really like this song. My favorite part is the piano, the bum da dun da dun da dun dun dun.
Yeah.
Which was actually played by George Martin. George Martin, if you don't know, is called the fifth Beatle. He was their producer. So the story goes that after not the Stones, the Beatles, after the Beatles were rejected by Decca Records, they auditioned over at EMI, and George Martin was the head of EMI Records, and so he signed them on and was going to be their producer. And he was kind of a more classically trained gentleman who thought, I can kind of apply some classical techniques to producing these guys. And he does, especially later on with putting in like string quartets and orchestras and stuff. But all the crazy stuff you hear on Beatles records and the little tricks you hear are they're really him kind of taking what was in the Beatles' minds and making it a reality. And just it's something as simple as just a little descending piano. Bum ba-dum 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 dum dum. Like it's kind of simple, but it's just very effective. Just adding that little piano bit in there. And like what George Martin adds to these Beatles records is vastly like underappreciated. Like everyone talks about the great songwriting, but just the production quality of these records and the effort that George Martin puts into just everything on the Beatles albums is just amazing.
No, I agree with what you said, but with the glasses, I could barely see your eyes. I could see the trees.
I know. There we go.
Kind of the John Lennon glasses a little bit, don't you?
How's that?
Oh yeah, I can see your eyes now.
Yeah, I think it's a solid song off the album. Really good second song here. And like you guys said, piano is great. And I think the harmonies are really good. And that's why I really love about the Beatles is the harmonies, I think, are so good. I mean, John and Paul are so great together. And then, of course, George also brings in that third part. But, yeah, I just love that when they get into that, it's going to be a drag, misery. Like, that's my favorite part, is just them coming together on that misery part. And then even at the end where, like, misery, la, 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 misery. It's like, it's a nice, catchy song. I think really well written. It's a solid one.
Yeah. Like I said, I think this is one of the more underrated songs on the album. I find it pretty cool that considering the song is called Misery, it's actually very much a pleasant listen. It's got such bluesy production behind it. I love the harmonies on the track, like you mentioned, Jason. And that piano part during the bridge was really cool. And just shows how great of a producer that George Martin is, along with being the occasional musician to help fill out and make an already good Beatles track even better. Yeah, I do really like this one. All right. Our next song is actually the first cover song on the album, and it's called Anna Go to Him. The original artist of the song is by a guy named Arthur Alexander. I'm not familiar with this guy. I think he's described as a country soul songwriter and singer. That's an interesting type of genre mix there. John Lennon recorded this song. I read he was a real big fan of the original song. I think he covered it before they released the first album and some of the live shows, and he wanted to record the song, and I guess props for him for doing that. I'll share my thoughts on the album. It might be an unpopular opinion, but what do you guys think of this song?
Oh, this song's beautiful. The way John Lennon sings this song is with heart and with passion. I don't think there's some people in music you just never like. I don't. Even though I prefer the Kinks and I prefer Ray Davies, I don't think Ray Davies ever gets that like emotion in his vocals, or like even Alan Clark from the Hollies. I don't think he ever got to that point of vocal, like, where he's like, the closest he ever got to that was He Ain't Heavy, He's My Brother. That's the closest I'd say he got to that. But yeah, this is a really good song. And the funny thing is that the Rolling Stones would also do an Arthur Alexander song on their album December's Children. So it's gonna be interesting to pick which song I prefer. They did "You Better Move On," and the Beatles did this song. And I'm kind of curious as to which song you would think is better. But like I said, even though I'm more of a Stones guy, but I'm gonna say this song's much better. John Lennon really just kills it with the feeling, the way he sings it. I was searching for love.
Yeah.
It's just it hits me every time I listen to this song. I'm just like, wow, definitely one of the best songs on the album. One of many reasons why John Lennon is one of the best Beatles. It's just one of the best ever. It's just it's amazing. I love John Lennon.
So I mentioned earlier that John Lennon had a cold whenever he was recording this album, and you'd think that would be a bad thing, but I can't believe that actually really works in his favor on this album, especially on this song. He kind of has a little bit of a raspiness in his voice that you don't hear on later records. This and especially Twist and Shout, which we'll get to later. But
yeah,
I really like this. It's one of the best covers on this album. Really great, and I like the George Harrison guitar riff. Da 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 da. Ringo's drumming is really good. It's a pretty good song.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think this might be the most underrated song on the album. It's not one that anybody ever will talk about. It's not, one of their iconic songs or even one of their more iconic covers, but I think it's a really good cover. It's one of my favorite cover songs that Beatles have done. And it's not a song I know outside of the Beatles either. But I remember I did the research on this song. It was like the guy who wrote it. He wrote it because like his girlfriend's ex-boyfriend was like trying to woo her away from him or something like that. And so he wrote this song, saying, basically telling her to go, kind of go ahead and go with her ex-boyfriend or something like that. She ended up not doing that, and they ended up getting married, and then they got divorced later. So it's like, maybe she should have gone with him, but who knows? But it didn't work out. But it's interesting kind of backstory behind the kind of it's a true situation type song the guy wrote about. But yeah, I really like the song. I love that. Anna, go with you, girl. Like, I love that melody. I think it's a really good melody. Yeah. And when everybody else kind of chimes in, Anna. Yeah. And like I said, Nick said it perfectly. Yeah. John's vocals are really good here and put some passion behind some of the singing, which, makes him one of my favorite all-time singers, I think, because of that. His passionate, and Paul too, are so good at putting passion into their, so you really feel the music. But yeah, it's a real good one.
Yeah. So this might be the unpopular opinion.
Yeah.
This song didn't do much for me.
Oh man.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of, the production's good. John Lennon sings all right. There was just one where, like, when I listened to it, I kind of got zoned out a little bit, and I'm like, yeah, I like some of the other songs on the album.
Yeah, it's not a well-known one. I will say that.
Yeah, but I'm glad it worked for. I'm glad John Lennon cared for the song. He wanted to sing it, and I'm glad you guys like it as well. So,
yeah.
All right, that leads into the next track. This is our next cover, and it's a song called Chains. It was actually originally sung by a girl group. I've never heard of this group called the Cookies.
Yeah, the Cookies.
The Cookies. And the song was actually co-written by Carole King,
Yeah.
who is a
Carole
very
King.
well-known songwriter.
Hmm.
This is the first song on the album, the first of two songs sung by the Quiet Beatle, George Harrison. And I gotta say, for one thing, this is one of the most underrated Beatles songs of all time. I really love this song. What do you guys think of it?
Honestly, I think it's good. It's actually not one of my favorites on the album, but I still think it's good. I just think of the two George songs on this album, I like the other one a lot better.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, my turn.
Yeah.
Yeah, this song doesn't do it for me at all. I really don't like this song. My problem with these early Beatle albums with George Harrison is that his voice isn't that good. Like the first four albums, it's his voice isn't the best. Don't worry,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
he's my even though he's my favorite. Well, in the beginning part of the Beatles, John Lennon's my favorite Beatle, but once we get to like Rubber Soul and Revolver, that's when George Harrison becomes my favorite. Uh, his voice gets a lot better. I'm just gonna say it now. I'm not gonna be on this channel for the next 3 or 4 albums. Uh, I'm definitely gonna be on here for Rubber Soul and Revolver. I promise that, because I have a lot of good things to say about those albums.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my biggest problem. Not only that, but these early Beatle albums start to sound samey after a while. Just kind of like the Stones, and the Beatles and the Hollies and all these other British Invasion artists, is that they pump all these albums out, but they all start to sound samey after a while. And I'm afraid to say this, but the Beatles are in that category as well, with having samey albums. I bet if the Who made a bunch of early albums too, like in that vein of My Generation, I feel like they would start sounding samey as well. But yeah, that's my biggest problem, and this song doesn't fall short from that. I don't really like this song. It's one of the more weaker songs in their catalog.
I like the song. I think it's a solid cover song of a song that I don't know much about outside. Yeah, some girl group sang it, and I felt like about the Beatles though. I don't know if another group did it as well as the Beatles, is taking girl group songs and arranging it for their more rock pop style. And they do it a couple times on this album, in fact. And I think they do a really good interpretation of like a girl group song that fits well with them, And yeah, it's a catchy number. I think it's a solid. It's not one of the most memorable ones. Like I think Nick is saying, not one you're going to think about maybe as much, but still one I enjoy when I get to it.
Well, I think I'm coming out with all the hot takes tonight. I really love this song. It's one of my favorites on the album.
It's another "You Shook Me" moment.
There's bluesiness to the song I really like. I thought George Harrison did a great job. I love the harmonies on it. Change.
Oh, this is also the first time we get to have John Lennon on the harmonica, which is something. I
love the harmonica on the track.
The harmonica is like the best part of the song, if you ask me.
I love that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. I'd rather listen to "You Shook Me" because
wow,
you get some great guitar playing by Jimmy Page, and the part at the end where it's like that's like this song has no memorable aspects to it. "You Shook Me" has some parts that I'm like, yeah, this is great.
I don't know. As a defender of "You Shook Me," to me, "Chains" is a catchier song. It's more of an earworm.
Yeah,
it's true. I like "You Shook Me." I never said I disliked it. It's just not a strong song on the debut album.
All right, but that leads into I don't think this song is going to be anybody's favorite on the album. The one Ringo Starr led song on the album, it's a song called "Boys." This is a cover of a song by another girl group called the Shirelles. This song was released as the B-side to probably the Shirelles' big hit, a song you may have heard of called "Will You Love Me Tomorrow?" Fantastic song. I've not heard their version of "Boys," but for some reason, Ringo Starr decided he wanted to sing this song.
So there's one part I really like of this song. Other than that, I don't really like the song. The one part I really, really like about this song is just when Ringo goes, "All right, George," and George does his guitar solo.
I was gonna say the same
That's
thing.
it. The only thing I like about that song is he's just like, "All right, George," and George
All right,
does
George.
his guitar solo. I'm like, yo, that is cool. I can imagine them like doing live, like, all right, George, and then George does his guitar solo. But
Yeah.
the sad thing is that later on he tries to recreate that moment in
Ugh,
Beatles for Sale 3 different times in the same song. It's like, no,
honey, don't.
the magic was that one time he said that.
Yeah, so boys, it's kind of this ironically kind of funny thing because it's meant for a girl group to sing about boys. They like boys, and so you got Ringo singing the same lyrics. They didn't change any lyrics around.
Yeah, hanging out with the boys.
It's kind of supposed to be funny, I think, that he's a boy talking about boy. I don't know, it's some kind of ironically funny about it, I guess. Yeah, so when they I think when they were doing this album and. Yeah, Ringo would do it live, and it would get a good response. I think the crowd actually kind of enjoyed the song. This is one of his worst songs. I will agree. I'm not a fan. Never been a fan of this one, even though it has a fun atmosphere to it. It's got an upbeatness to it, but like you said, I don't think they gave Ringo their best material. There's like, let's stick Ringo on this one. Let's get Ringo one song, which I like that they gave him one song. I think that's kind of an interesting idea because. Ringo has no business probably being a lead singer, but he made a career out of it because they did this for him. So I think it's cool.
Yeah, I heard Ringo perform this in Matchbox Live, and when I went to see him live, and good memories of that. But I'm gonna be with you on that. I think it's a lousy song. His singing is the only good part about it. The lyrics are horrible. Guys singing about guys.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to go into it, but that's not my thing I want to hear about. This is very lousy. Just it's a horrible track. I don't like it at all.
I'm not a big fan of it either. I like Ringo drumming, keeping in rhythm. He's consistent on the whole album, but this song just didn't do it for me. It's too weird of a song. I don't. It's kind of cringy for Ringo to sing it. It's probably my bottom 2 songs on the album. Spoiler alert. Our next song number 6, we go back to the original Lennon-McCartney tracks, the John Lennon-led tune. This is called "Ask Me Why."
This is the most underrated song on the album.
Oh, you like this one, Nick?
This is awesome. I've always loved this track. I love part of the lyrics was like, "Give you more misery." I don't know. It reminds me of the second track on the album. Like, I don't know. That's what I always like about it. I love Lennon's vocals on it. It's great. I love the harmonic opener. I think there's a harmonic opener. I haven't listened to these songs in a while. I'm just going by because I've listened to these songs a billion times, so I know how a lot of them sound. Yeah, it's a really good song. Again, the harmonies are there. John Lennon's vocals, awesome. Still get the feeling from him. One of my favorites.
I like the why, like the in the you, like I like that section. I really like this song. It's really great, and I like the ooh part as well. And I love the chord it ends on, like the like a major 7 chord. I think that's a really cool way to end the song.
Yeah, it's always weird when I get to the song because there's another song called "Tell Me Why" off of Hard Day's Night, and I keep getting the song thinking it's "Tell Me Why," and then I'm like, oh no, this is a different song. This is a slower song than what I was thinking, but to me it's like an okay song, but not one of their best on here. I think it's a little slow moving at times, but like I said, there's some good harmony stuff there, and the why, some good stuff there, but. Not one of my favorites on the album.
Yeah, I think I would agree with Jason. Like, this song is just okay in my opinion. I think the shining strength of it is the harmonies, but this isn't one I would regularly go back to. It doesn't really stack up compared to some of my favorites on the album, but it's still a decent song. It was actually released as the B-side to the next song that we'll be talking about, and that is the title track,
Big one.
Please Me, which, yep, this number 2 hit in the UK, and I know it was released a single in the US. In the US, it reached number 3, so it was a big hit in both countries. And I will say I do really like this one.
Amazing. I love the harmonica. The and I like the guitar, and the harmonica comes in. I like the harmonies that they sing on this, and I really like what I really like is that guitar right after they sing. I said these words to my girl, da 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 da. I really like that. And fun fact, near the end, John Lennon and Paul McCartney messed up and were singing different lyrics. Well, if you're listening to the stereo version, anyway, I'm not going to get into all of that. That's too nitpicky. But John and Paul sing different lyrics, and like they're singing different verses. One of them says, "I know you never even try, girl," and one says, "Why don't you ever even try, girl?" And then John Lennon catches that and goes, "Come on!" right before he laughs. I think that's funny that they left that in.
Yeah, it's funny.
It's not. I'm going to be honest. It's not one of my favorite songs from them. It's a good track on the album. I'm going to be honest. This was one of their more overrated songs compared to a bunch of their other hits. It's good. I like the back and forthness, like what John sings and Paul and George like do the backup vocals, and come on, come on, come on, come on. That's the chorus is probably the best part of the song. Please, please, me, oh yeah. The rest of it's good. I like the harmonica intro. It's decent, but I don't know. I feel like the B side's a lot better than the A side in this case. Like way better.
Yeah. I would. Oh, I'm sorry, Jason. I didn't mean to.
So you're gonna hear some hot takes from me though. So
that's a hot take. This is one of my favorite, Beatles songs from this period. One of my favorite on the album. It's a great song. Of course, history is that, because this was the second single that they put out after "Love Me Do," and they're looking for a number one. They're trying to get a number one single. George Martin was pushing them on. That's something about "Do What You Do to Me." Which they gave to Jerry and the Pacemakers.
How do you do it?
How you do it? Which was like a number one song for the Jerry and the Pacemakers. But George Martin's like, here's the song that will get you a hit, and they're like, no, we want a hit with our own stuff. We don't want to do a cover or someone else's song or whatever. And John brought this song to the table, but he brought it very slow moving. It was like, please, please me. Like it was like this very more Roy Orbison style of song, and George Martin being just the right producer for him, a genius producer, was smart enough to say, if you speed that up, you might have something. And so John somehow, I don't know how you do this, but somehow John just rearranges the song with that great guitar. I love the guitar. It's probably some of the best guitar work on the album, I think, is on this song with the harmonica and the guitar going that bum 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 bum. I think some of the best kind of riff that they've done at this point in their career. And they come back, and George Martin's like, "Oh, you got a number one hit with that," and he was right. It was their first number one hit in the UK. And I just love the pace of the song. It's just got a great pace to it. It's just very fast paced, and just the vocally, just amazing. John, I think, coming up that. Last night I said this, like he's really singing out, really, really out loud. And like Scott said I love the guitars and the bum 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 bum, or the the other part I'm forgetting now, but bum 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 bum, that part.
Da 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 da. I forgot about that.
Bum, bum. Like, it's so good. And then, like Nick said, the come on, come on, come on. It's so good, like that back and forth. And then then he hits that high note.
Please. So iconic.
Yes. Please, please. When he hits a high note, it's so good anyways. But Yeah, love the song.
Again, even though it's not one of my favorites, I can't doubt its iconic nature. It's not one of my favorites. That doesn't mean it's not a bad song.
Yeah.
It's just not a song that I'm into. It's just
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just whenever I hear the song, I'm like, this is amongst the hits. Like she loves you, and For Me to You, and those songs. It's good, but it's not. I don't think it's on that level of
Okay.
greatness.
Yeah.
I kind of see where Nick's coming from because it's never been one of my favorite Beatles songs either.
Really?
But comparing it to, but as far as the stuff on this album goes, it's one of the better songs on the album. I do think I love the harmonica on this track. It's got a good groove to it. I do like what you've all talked about, the call and echo, and I think it's got one of the best hooks and on this album. You know, please please me like I please you. That's a brilliant hook for a song like this. I do really like the song. I don't think it stacks up to their best, but it's still a pretty good song. It's one of the better ones on the album. And that wraps up the first side. If we were listening to
Time
the
to
album on
flip the
vinyl,
record over.
we flip the record over, like Scott says, and we start with
Their debut single.
debut single in the UK, Love Me Do. It only hit number 17 on the UK chart, which is kind of crazy to think about. It did go to number 1 in the US following the Beatlemania.
Yeah.
So it caught on more over there. But
Number 17 for your debut is pretty good, though.
Yeah. It's yeah.
Yeah, but you think about it now, it's like, oh, the Beatles, number 17. What? But then again, that was their first single. But you got to start somewhere.
Yeah, always start somewhere.
All right, thoughts.
My thoughts on it. First time I ever heard this song, I was a little kid. I'm just gonna go a brief backstory of how I got into the Beatles. I was a little kid. My dad was a big Beatle fan. He had a bunch of their albums, like compilations, regular albums. He had Let It Be, White Album in the car all the time. Those are the 2 albums I grew up with, like regular albums, the White Album and Let It Be. So I have a lot of good memories from those, going to Ranger games, just listening to Obla Obla and all that. But this compilation CD, and it had Love Me Do, and as a little kid, I remember not liking it at all. I don't know why. It was a song that irritated me, but I have grown up since then. I think it's a pretty good song. Still not one of my favorites from this album, but I can't deny the awesomeness of John Lennon and the harmonica playing.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of his strongest harmonica playing in general. It's just awesome, and it's a great debut single. There's one version of it that has Pete Best doing the drums, and there's a version of it with Ringo on drums. So, and then there's the single version, which I believe has just a completely different drummer on it. So
the single version has Ringo on drums. This version actually has a guy named Andy White on the drums.
Oh, okay. I had the single and the album track mixed up, but
yeah, it's got the session drummer on there.
I was gonna say I prefer the single version. I'm sorry, Ringo, but I prefer the single version. But I'm glad.
No, you're actually defending Ringo.
So I'm glad I prefer the single version because Ringo's drumming and all that's much better than the album version, if you ask me. Even the harmonica playing on the album on the single version is better. To be honest, if the single version was used for the album track, I would have it would be in my top 5. But the album track sort of loses it for me. But it's still a pretty good song though. It still has its greatness to it.
All right.
So I really like the harmonica on this song. This is actually what we talked about. I Saw Her Standing There as an introduction. This is like the real introduction to the Beatles because it's the song they released first. But
yeah,
and that and this the boom 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 kind of feel. It's kind of a more simpler song, but I think that really works in the favor of this song. Kind of the simplicity of it, and I like John and Paul's harmonies on there.
Yeah, interesting. When they first got signed on in 1962 with EMI and George Martin, and they're first putting together, some songs, and they only had a handful of songs at that time. They were still kind of early in their writing period, I think, and they brought all these songs to George Martin, and George Martin picked out "Love Me Do" as probably the best of like the 5 songs they brought to him, and said, "We'll put this as the A side," and I forget the B side. Is that on this album, or is that
The B side is I saw it on here. P.S. I Love You.
P.S. I Love You is on this album.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's actually
It's the next
song
track on the
we're
album,
talking
actually.
about.
which I like quite a bit. But anyway, so they put those 2 out because those are two of the earlier songs that they put together. Anyways, yeah, and like I said, it did well enough that it made them go, we might have something with this writing team. Lennon McCartney might be able to make hit songs, and which is a good thing because not every band has songwriters like Lennon and McCartney. They usually have to have other songwriters write songs for them. So it's somewhat further rare for the band members to be able to write their own stuff at this point, I think. And
the Beatles have been voted Merseydale's favorite outfit, and it was inevitable that their first record, "Love Me Do," would go straight into the top of Liverpool's local hit parade. Straight from the back of the record.
straight from the back.
Right.
Yeah, so it's interesting that song kind of, it was the first one to kind of get their name out there. And then they would just start hitting number ones after that. It's just one number one hit after number one hit after that. But for me, I think it's an okay song. It doesn't, like I said, I love this first album that has the harmonica because I don't know, after like Hard Day's Night, they would get kind of away from the harmonica, unfortunately. It's only like the big thing in the first, 3 albums or so. But I think the guitar is not anything special. I would say it's kind of a simple guitar part on here. It doesn't stand out a lot. And the harmonies are fine, but it's not the catchiest song on here. So to me, it's kind of a middle of the road song. It's not one of my favorite, but it's still obviously iconic because it's the first big hit for them. It's funny because they were just, replacing Pete Best with Ringo. And when they first met George Martin and started, playing for him, Pete Best was the drummer, and George Martin was like, I don't think this drummer's, very good. He's not keeping beat very well, and so he hired a session drummer, Andy White, to do it. But then they got Ringo in there, and of course Ringo was very hurt. Like, you're not going to let me play on my own bands,
Or you can play the tambourine.
he had to play the tambourine, and that really hurt him. George Martin said up to the, later on, when he was alive, he said that Ringo was still bitter about that he made, I think it was one of those things where they already hired the session drummer. So like, well, we already hired him. We're going to have him, because he didn't know Ringo yet. Of course, afterwards, he knew that Ringo could drum, and he didn't have to be afraid. But it was because of Pete Best that they hired the session.
I think because of that, Ringo was afraid that George Martin was going to fire him.
Yeah.
And so because that's why you hear Ringo going crazy on the drums on this album.
Yeah.
He's playing.
Right.
He was playing like his job depended on it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly right. And it's kind of an interesting thing because John would he was singing the "Love Me Do," and then he would go into the harmonica. But when he had to go into the harmonica, he had to cut the "Love Me Do" short and just go "Love Me," and then he went into the harmonica. So then George Martin came up with the idea of like, let's have Paul McCartney sing that "Love Me Do" part, so then John could be ready to do the harmonica. And when I saw him live, he told the story that he was really nervous about that. He had to do that line, "Love Me Do," and he says to this day he hears the nervousness in his voice when he sings it, which I think is interesting.
I agree with you, Jason. I'm glad you agree with me on that. It's not a bad song. It's just, again, I agree with you. It's more middle of the road for really.
This is actually my favorite song on the album.
Oh, okay.
I love this song, the harmonica. I love John Lennon, Paul McCartney's vocal harmonies together. I didn't know about Ringo not drumming on the song. I thought that was pretty interesting. But hey, he can play tambourine well on the song. I do really like this one. It shows, I think, the early side of the Beatles. I felt like if I was in 1962, heard this song for the first time, I'd be like, what is this amazing new talent? I am intrigued. I am hooked. I can't wait to see what they do next. And I would say this was a great gateway song for a lot of people. That leads us to what was the B side to Love Me Do, and that is P.S. I Love You.
This is yet another example of me thinking the B side's better than the A side. One of Paul McCartney's best moments on the album, in my humble opinion. I'm gonna be honest. This is again another one of the middle of the road songs for them. I still think it's a notch bit better than the last song, probably because of the vocal, because of Paul's voice on it. Really good, but again, this is a good song. I quite like it, but I don't really go back to this track that much.
I like it. I think it's really good. Ringo was doing a beat on the drums that he called the cowboy beat. The like the
Yeah.
and I like how the background vocals are kind of like tread
Yeah.
is true
Yeah.
all you. It's like saying
Every
the
word.
first syllable,
Yeah.
but I like it.
Yeah, I like this song a lot. It's one of my favorite on the album, and I agree. I think it's better than "Love Me Too,"
Oh, wow.
which you might think is crazy, Jacob. But
Yeah.
yeah, I love Paul's vocals here. I love the harmonies with every once in a while the other two would come in with the harmonies, and then I love at the end when Paul really goes out. Yeah, you know you want me to. He really like belts it out at the end, which I think is really great. One of my favorite parts of the song. But yeah, it's a really great sounding song, and of course, it's going off this kind of craze of like sending letters and stuff like that, and the P.S. I love you. I think Elvis had a big song with like Return to Sender at this time, and yeah, please, please, Mr. Postman.
Oh, yeah.
So it's kind of a genre at this moment, I think. And I don't know if you noticed this, Jacob. They really love at this point in their career. They purposely wrote songs with you in them or me in them because they're trying to really. They wanted each song to sound like they're singing to the audience member, So the teenage girl listening to this be like, "Oh, they're singing to me," P.S. I love you, love me, do, please, please me. Do you want to know? See, I know everything
From me to
yeah,
you.
from me to you. Yeah, she loves you. I want to hold your hand. It's like all these, and Paul McCartney says they purposely did that because they knew that would be big for teenage girls, to hear this very almost directly singing to them, which I think is kind of interesting when you listen to the album as a whole.
Yeah. I thought this was a solid song. Obviously, I like the A side better, but I feel like there's a sweetness to this song I really like.
Yeah.
I read Paul McCartney wrote this while I think he was visiting another country. I read it like he's in Germany when he wrote this, and I find this it's going to go in a weird angle, but you can interpret songs in different ways. I know the Beatles probably wrote this primarily to their teenage girl fans, but I think when I heard this song, I thought of a separated love, maybe a guy stationed in like the army or something, and writing this letter to a girl, maybe his girlfriend or wife or whatever, and I think that kind of makes it a little bit sweeter than maybe what the Beatles originally had in mind. But I do think it's a solid song. It's a sweet song. I like the you.
Yeah, that's so good. I think they definitely knew their audience. They knew how to write a catchy song that would catch on really well. And Lennon McCartney they were just writing them like crazy. They got together and they just wrote for hours and hours, and they were just putting out one song after another like this.
Definitely some of the best songwriters in popular music, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And that leads into our next song. We're back to cover territory, and this time we got Baby It's You. This was actually the second song on the album that was a cover of a song from the Shirelles following Boys. And I would say Of the two songs they cover from this girl group, this is definitely the better song.
Yeah.
Yes.
Way
The
better.
only thing is about this song. It's really weird because it starts out, it just sounds like this really sweet, baby, it's you. I don't like of anyone else. But then it gets halfway through the song, gets to the middle eight, and it's like, you should hear what they say about you. Cheat, cheat. I'm like, wait, that took a left turn. It sounded like a sweet love song, and then it's like, oh, you should hear everyone says that you're a cheater, but I don't think it's true. I'm like, that. I don't know. I just don't think that really fits the tone of the song.
This is one of my favorites on the album. Again, this is just John Lennon belting out his soul into his blood and sweat and tears into this song. You know, even like Scott mentioned before, this is like the cold really helped with the vocals on this. Just the raspiness of it really helps with it. One of the strongest songs on the album, if you ask me. Love it so much.
I agree. It's a great cover song. It's one of my favorite Beatles cover songs. And again, it's another great use of taking the original girl group song and rearranging it for the Beatles and John singing here. The original is pretty good too. I think they're both pretty good, the original and the cover. I feel like when I talk to most people, they say they like the original better. I think because it's, it's the original. But I still think this is a really good version of the song. And I think John's vocals are really good. It's a slower, it's a more ballad type song, not a rocker. And John's really showing his range, I think, as a singer here. And like Nick said, yeah, he has some passion. I think he's really good at putting passion behind his voice when he's singing these type of songs. And I love the sha-la-la-la-la, sha-la-la-la-la. I know, I love that stuff. I love backing vocals like that. Always love that. Yeah. But yeah, nobody, but baby, it's you. Like I love how they slow it down for that. It's really good. Like I think the cover songs are really good on this album. That's what makes this album, I think, better than like with the Beatles or Beatles for Sale because the covers are good.
That's why I think I figured out why I think that it's contrasting because I feel like it's a song that you'd want to like dance with your girl to, but then he gets to that section like you should hear what they say about you, cheat, and it's like, oh, never mind. I don't want to dance with my girl to that song now.
Not as romantic as he thought.
No.
One of the things I really like about this song is the sha-la-la-la-la. It's like they were trying to harken back to some of the doo-wop sound of some of the big 1950s rock, like R&B, rock and roll ballads, and I'm a sucker for that sound. So I really liked it when the Beatles did it. Is it
Paying
one of my
homage
favorite
to popular music before they turn it on its head?
Is it one of my favorites? No, but there is some sharp writing in it. John Lennon sings pretty good, and I still enjoyed the song for what it was. All right. Our next song is the second of two songs led by George Harrison. This is Do You Want to Know a Secret? This actually was a hit song in the U.S. It got up to number 2, which is actually pretty good. So this one, I didn't like it as much as the other Harrison song, but I still thought it was all right.
Here's my look. You said it already, but my hot take on it. Everything's great about it besides George Harrison's whiny vocals.
Okay.
The writing's great. The instrument playing's great. The vocals kill it for me. I can't listen to it for that fact alone.
Really, I actually really like this song, and I like the do-da-do.
Yeah.
I really like those back. Oh. Yeah, this song is very, for all you musicians out there, this song is very chromatic, which means that it like kind of just goes down, up and down the scale. I don't know the best way to describe that, but it's like, oh, that's just like goes up and then just right down to the very next note that would be in the scale.
Yeah.
Sorry for you guys who like this song. I don't know. This song doesn't do it for me for that reason.
Yeah, I really like it. It's a Lennon McCartney song. They gave it to George to sing. on this one, and
John should have just sang it.
I agree. George has the strongest like Liverpoolian accent or something like that when he sings. Like when he sings, you can really hear his accent, and I think this is one of the best examples where, yeah, his voice isn't quite there. I think he gets better as a vocalist. I think especially by the time you get the help, I think his songs are just really, really great once you get the help. But yeah, early on, it's like, yeah, I can kind of hear a weird accent when he sings. Do you want to know a secret? I don't know how
I
to
hear
do
a
it.
little bit of an accent when he does Tax Me, but I think it works incredibly to his favor because heavy taxes and
The voice of the British people.
yes.
Yeah, but I still like the song a lot. I love that beginning. The dun, do I know if I really care? Ba bum ba bum ba bum. Listen. Yeah. Overall, I like the whole overall melody of it and the guitar part and all that. And this whole idea of just speaking to the audience. Come closer. I want to tell you I love you. It's a secret. I love you. And the girls are like, oh, he loves me. But yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like this song fine. I do agree Harrison's vocals get better over time, but I thought he was solid on this song. It's got some good production. And I thought the hook, a little bit cheesy.
It is.
Do you want to know a secret? What's the secret? You want to know? It's because I love you. It's a sweet song. I like it fine. It's not one of my favorites, but it's still pretty enjoyable. The next song, on the other hand, yeah, I'm not too crazy about this one. Let's talk about
No.
a Taste of Honey.
A waste of money.
Originally, it was originally from a Broadway show called Taste of Honey, which was made into a movie in 1961. Then it was covered by a jazz band called Herb Albert and the Tijuana Brass, and it was a #1 hit for them in 1965. Funny enough, the Beatles were not the first artists to do this song with vocals. Believe it or not, you're going to find this crazy. And I didn't know this until this morning. The first person to sing this song with vocals is a man named Billy D. Williams. Yes. Lando.
Hello, what have we here?
Did a song. He had a singing career in the 60s, and he was the first person to sing A Taste of Honey.
Wow, okay.
Now I want to have like, this deal is getting worse all the time. Actually, I'm altering the deal. Now you must sing A Taste of Honey. That wasn't part of our arrangement. I have altered the deal again. Pray I don't alter it further.
Oh, this deal's getting worse all the time. but yeah, I think just the trivia of this song is more interesting than the song itself.
Yes.
Yeah, this song's horrible. I don't like it at all. It's crap. It's awful.
It's terrible. And there's a scene in the Beatles Get Back documentary where it's like it's the first time Billy Preston comes in to be with them. Is like, let's play A Taste of Honey. I'm like, no, play something else.
Yeah, this song's just garbage. This is one of many. Well, the second of many Beatles songs that I can't stand.
It's just too slow moving or something. I don't know. It just doesn't work. Yeah.
We're talking about all the great backing vocals on the other songs, and then you just get John Lennon going, "A taste of honey," and that really cheesy accent. You can tell he hates singing that.
More sweeter than wine. Yeah.
Do. What is do and do?
I'm sorry, but this is just Paul. This is like the start of Paul McCartney being the cheesy guy I don't like. Like I hate to say this because I know you guys like Paul McCartney, but this is like
write this song.
He didn't write it, but this is the aspect of Paul McCartney I can't stand. It's just he adds a cheesy side to the Beatles that I can't stand.
Well, if you know this, Jacob, pretty much any song that has the word honey in it is pretty terrible from the Beatles.
Oh, White Honey Pie.
There's going to be a couple more songs with honey in it, and you're going to go,
Honey don't. Yeah, it's the honey curse.
The honey
yeah.
curse.
The honey curse.
Honey don't. Honey wild honey pie. Yeah.
It sounds like I should just stick the honey glove into Winnie the Pooh. A taste of honey. Yum, 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 yum.
Yeah, did someone say that should be a good song for Winnie the Pooh?
I mean,
Honey.
the Rolling Stones did a honey related song with "I'm a King Bee."
I'm a king bee.
I'm a king bee.
So both bands had their dive into bee related territory. But I will say I do prefer the Stones song though.
Yeah, I like I'm a king bee a lot better than A Taste of Honey. The sad thing is the jazz version. I love the jazz version of this song. It has a lot of energy to it.
Yeah.
You got the Beatles singing it, and it's just slow moving, and the vocalization is weird. Like, a taste of honey. I'm like,
A taste of honey.
this is as much as I poke fun of Boys, at least that one has some energy to it. And
That one has
Ringo's
all right
drumming. I would rather listen to Boys than listen to A Taste of Honey ever again. This is the worst song on the album. All right, we got 2 more songs on the album. The next one is actually a song that's actually pretty underrated. This was actually released as the B-side in the U.S. to our album closer, which we'll get to in a few minutes. There's a Place. I really like this one. This is an underrated song.
Me too.
I agree. This is the song I was mentioning before. I thought I was mistaken with Ask Me Why. This is a song with the harmonica opener. The doo there.
Yeah.
Great harmonies. Again, John Lennon being the absolute best in this early period. I'm just gonna say it now. My 5 favorite songs are the ones with John Lennon on lead. He's just he's amazing. I love John Lennon on lead vocals at this point of the Beatles' career. Yeah, this is awesome. I love this track.
I feel like the guitar opening to this is like copy paste from Please Please Me. That was the only thing. It's like boom. I'm like, oh, please please me. Oh wait, no, it's not. What is this? The harmonica is different. And lyrically, I feel like this is more of a Beach Boys kind of song than a Beatles song lyrically, because it's about like there's a place that I can go, like it's in my mind. That sounds more like something Brian Wilson would be writing, but yet
in my room or something.
Yeah. But I like that, and I like the middle section. In my mind, there's no sorrow. Don't you know that it's so? I love that part. That middle section, the little bridge. That's what I like about this album is that you can't tell what's supposed to be the melody and what's supposed to be the harmony, because both of them are like equally as catchy. And so when you're singing along, sometimes you'll sing one part and sometimes you'll sing the other part. Like "Love Me Do" is that way. Like this song, a lot of these early Beatles songs are like, what's the harmony and what's the melody? Like I can't tell because both of them are equally catchy.
For me, it's an okay song. It's not one of my favorite on the album. It's a little slow moving again, but it's all right. You know, it's funny when you got Taste of Honey and this coming back to back, and you really need a rocker to end this album.
Yeah, this is one of my favorites on the album. The first time I heard it, I was like, oh wow. This is actually one of the more thoughtful songs on the album. Yeah, there's a place where I can go in my mind. Okay, it's dealing with this like mental escape from stress. That's a pretty relatable song. I really like it. The harmonies are beautiful. I love, even though it's like the shortest track on the album, it's just under 2 minutes. It still packs a really good punch to it. And I think one of the biggest things I have to compliment on this album, there's 14 songs on this album. And yet the entire album is just a little over 30 minutes long. That's
it goes by so
fast. It goes fast. Let's talk about the last song on
the
album. You're trying to do Ferris Bueller on me?
Twisting and shouting.
I'm being too literal.
Twisting and shouting.
Yeah, Twist and Shout. This was a cover. Originally made popular by the Isley Brothers. The Beatles pretty much made it their own. It was only a U.S. single. Went up to number 2 on the chart, so that was pretty good. This is the one that was probably the most infamous, where John Lennon had his cold,
Yeah.
because his voice is really raspy on
Yeah.
the song. But I think that's what made it stand out and made it the iconic song that it is today.
They did 2 takes of this song. The first take is the one you hear on the record. The second take, they had to stop halfway through because he couldn't get through it.
Oh wow!
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
He was done.
You can even hear at the end of the song, it's like boom, 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 and you can hear somebody go, yeah, and you hear John go,
Yeah.
ah,
Yeah,
like he's ready to be done. Like,
Yeah,
I think this was also chronologically the last song they
Yeah,
recorded.
it was the last
too,
song
so
that-
you can
that,
hear
that
it's
makes
like,
sense because I think
good,
songs
we're
were probably
done
picked out
recording
by
this
the time
album.
they were
Let's
done.
put it out.
this song is awesome. This song is on my dad's rock playlist. We both agree this is the best song on the album. It's just when you think about early Beatlemania and the energy it brings, the first thing we both think about is Twist and Shout. It's Beatlemania in one. It's just Beatlemania in a song. It's just awesome. John Lennon killing it with the vocals. That's like the best part about the song is the vocals. Like for me, the worst part about Do You Want to Know the Secrets, the vocals. For me, the best part about this song is easily the vocals. You just it's epic. It's just awesome. This is an awesome song, and I hope we all agree on that.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yes.
I don't really have anything more to add other than I love the use of this movie in Ferris Bueller's Day Off whenever
Yeah.
they're at the Chicago parade and like he's lip syncing to it and everyone's just dancing along with it and then the marching band joins in.
I read Paul McCartney was upset that they put it in the movie and they added brass to the original recording. He got real ticked off over that.
It was just supposed to be that the marching band is just joining in.
Yeah, but I just thought that was funny. So I
He's
always,
not too keen on people adding stuff to his songs.
yeah, I read
Pop-
about
Pop-
the
Winding
whole Let
Road.
It Be controversy with Phil Spector.
Which okay, a little sneak peek for our Let It Be review. I personally love what Phil Spector did with that album, and we'll just leave it at that until we get
Yeah.
to that review.
Yeah,
I
that's a discussion for another time.
I may or may not agree with Scott.
All right.
I love this song. It's my favorite Beatles cover song. In fact, you forget that it's a cover song. I always thought it was original.
I didn't even know it was a cover song at first.
And then you're like, oh, it's the Isley
Well,
Brothers.
what happened is when I was in Boy Scouts and like whenever we were in Boy Scouts, we do these campfire skits. And I was going to do a campfire skit with some people where we pretended we were the Beatles. And we're like, well, let's do Twist and Shout. And somebody's like, Twist and Shout's not a Beatles song. It's the Isley Brothers. It was because it was one of the older gentlemen who actually could play guitar. I saw he could play like Here Comes the Sun. I'm like, you want to be in it? You can be the guitar player. And he's like, oh, I don't think Here Comes the Sun is the Isley Brothers. I'm like, well, I thought that was the Beatles. And it turns out it was a cover.
Yeah, the original is not as rocking. It's not as fast paced. It's more. It's not guitar ran. It's more brass or whatever instruments. And yeah, it's not as good as this version. I think Beatles definitely have the better version of the song. And I totally agree with what Nick said. John's vocals are like the best on this song. And it's funny that he's losing his voice, and yet he puts out like the best vocals on the album on this song at the very end. I mean, he gave it his all. I think he had to drink some like lemon water or something, I don't know, or something for his voice, and he just
Some
felt
John
it.
Lemon Water.
Yeah, the John Lennon water, and he just had to belt it out, and he did. And it's such a fun rock song. Yeah, it makes you want to get out and dance. It's like I can see people dance, and this is always like if you go to a wedding, they'll play the song to this day. People get out on the dance floor. It still works today perfectly. When I go see like a Beatles tribute band and they play this, I mean, it's so fun to watch and listen to live. I can imagine this is one of the best live songs to listen to. And because I love that the like the way they crescendo with each person adds more ahs, and then you get that part where Paul McCartney he does this like very loud scream. I mean, it's high pitched scream. Yeah, he does this like incredible. He's on pitch and he's screaming, and I'm like, I don't know how he does that without I can't do it without like hurting my voice or something. But yeah, and then John gets back into that "Shake It Up, Baby." And it's like, oh my gosh, like it's one of the best rock songs they ever did. And like I said, it was number one when I know me and Brian Adam did like our favorite cover songs. And I don't know if Briar's in the chat, but I think he had it number one and I had it number one favorite cover song from the Beatles.
Mm.
Yeah,
Good choices.
this is one of my favorite songs on the album as well. I've heard the Isley Brothers version. I like it a lot, but you can't think of Twist and Shout without thinking of what the Beatles did with it.
Yeah.
John Lennon's best vocals on the album. I love the raspiness in his voice. I love the call and response. Shake it out, baby. Shake it out, baby. It has such high energy to it.
Yeah.
I can see how this one was such a fan favorite that pretty much launched Beatlemania, essentially. So this is a really fantastic way to close out the album. Now let's get to our top five. Scott, what are your top five songs from Please Please Me?
I'm gonna go 1 to 5 rather than 5 to 1 to make it easier. Usually I like to be if it's a surprise, but it's every time I do that I always fumble around everything and it makes a big mess. So I'm gonna just start at number 1. My favorite song on this album is "I Saw Her Standing There." I love that song. Great Paul McCartney song. My second favorite is "Please Please Me." Really great single. My third favorite is "Twist and Shout." My fourth favorite is actually, believe it or not, "Do You Want to Know a Secret?" I probably like it the most out of everyone.
Yeah.
And then actually, I take that back. I really like this song, but I forgot about "There's a Place." "There's a Place" is going to be my number 4.
Oh, okay.
And my number 5 is actually going to be "Misery." And then the honorable mention to "Do You Want to Know a Secret?"
All right, yeah. That's the one thing I was gonna add. The big special add-on on my channel. If you have any honorable mentions that are so close, you can feel free to share those as well.
Number 5, I'm gonna have to give it to "Baby It's You." Number 4, I'm gonna give it to "Ask Me Why." Number 3, I'm gonna give it to "And It Go to Him." Actually, no, switch that. Number 3 would be "There's a Place." Number 2 would be "And It Go to Him," and then the best track on the album would be "Twist and Shout." As for honorable mentions, "I Saw Her Standing There" and "Misery" are great songs.
Number 5, I'm going with "Baby It's You." I agree with Nick on that. Great cover song. Number 4, I'm going to go with "I Saw Her Standing There." Number 3, I'm going with "P.S. I Love You." Number 2, "Please Please Me." And number 1 is "Twist and Shout." Same as Nick.
Yes.
My favorite on the album. Okay.
My top 5. My number 5 is "Chains." I think I'm the only one who really loves that song. I think it's
Yeah.
a terrific, catchy song. Number 4, "There's a Place." Really like that one. Number 3, "Twist and Shout." John Lennon's best vocals on the album. My number 2 is "I Saw Her Standing There." Great rocker. And my number 1 is "Love Me Do."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're the only one that had "Love Me Do," I think, in there.
Yeah.
That song is so catchy. All right, so now let's get to grading this debut Beatles album on a scale of 1 to 10.
I'll go first. Don't kill me, guys. I'm giving this a 6.5 out of 10.
Okay.
There's a lot of promise with them. Like I said, 7 out of the 7 tracks are really good. Really great stuff. Like songs I will go back to and be like, yes, this is great. This is really good. But then the other 7 tracks range from songs I'm not really that into to like just songs that I just don't like at all.
All right.
So I'm going to give it an 8. I really like this album, and it's a perfect time capsule for 1963 and what pop music sounded like then, even if it has some missteps, "Boys," "A Taste of Honey." I just think it's still an absolutely amazing album. The fact that most of this album was recorded in a 24-hour session is absolutely insane.
Oh, I'm giving it an 8.5 out of 10. I think it's a great debut album for them. Yeah, obviously, unfortunately, this early period is, what hurts it, of course, I think maybe, I don't know if all of us agree with this, is that them doing cover songs kind of hurts this early period of them. And you got like this album with the Beatles and Beatles for Sale are kind of the 3 Beatle albums that are this type of 8 original, 6 cover songs, you know. So it's great once we get away from that and it's all original stuff. I think it gets a lot better. In saying that, I still think you got like 5 iconic songs here with Please Please Me, you know, Love Me Do, Twist and Shout, I Saw Her Standing There, P.S. I Love You. I think it's still some of their best stuff, early stuff. And so it's still one I really, really enjoy.
Yeah. I get it.
Just get ready for A Hard Day's Night, Jacob. It's
Um,
the only album that has all Lennon-McCartney penned songs.
I can't wait for that album.
It's
I'm familiar with the movie.
Okay.
all
that's
the
their best.
songs in the movie are amazing, and the songs on the B side that weren't in the movie are great too.
Yeah, we'll get to that when we get there. As for my rating on Please Please Me, I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. I think it's a really strong debut album. Couple of missteps in there. I'm not a fan of Boys or Taste of Honey, and there's others that aren't as good as other songs. But I felt like, you know, considering people didn't really care for like the songwriting talents of the individual artists at that time. It's really cool that half of the album's defined by Lennon and McCartney tracks, and they have some great tracks off the back. The covers are hit and miss, but Twist and Shout's an amazing cover, and I like Chains awfully well too. So there's a pretty good mix of really good songs. You really get to see the talent on full display, and you can see that with this album, you can see how Beatlemania took off for the success of this album. So I think it's a really good debut album.
I agree.
Yeah.
That wraps up, I guess, our review of Please Please Me. It sounds like Jason, Nick, Scott will be joining me for the rest of the Beatles studio albums output. We're going to do With the Beatles next. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you all have an amazing night, and I guess join us for some more album content coming real soon. Take care, everybody.